This is Season 5, Episode 10, with Bobb Vergiels, Take 1.
Well, welcome back to Capal's Corner, where the beers are cold and the burgers are warmer. Head up to the creek in my truck if you wanna. Hop on in the bed, just move the cooler over. Have a good old time at Capal's Corner. Y'all come back now. You hear?
Pretty. Bobb.
How are you?
Bobby, Robert, Robbie, Roberts.
Bobb.
Bobb it is, with 2 B's.
No, 3. The 2 at the end.
You got a good point there. Oh, is this the whole show? Is this what we're going to bring?
Yeah, thank you for we'll see you next week.
Hi, and welcome to another exciting episode of Capal's Corner. I'm your host, Benny Capal, and with me today I have Bobb Vergiels. Yet again, another handshake.
How are you?
Thank you for being
Good to
on.
see you.
No,
Thank
it
you
is
for having
awesome.
me.
Now, I know listeners out there, as this goes on, before I even say it, you're going to be like, wait, I've heard this guy before somewhere, and I can't place it. Before we get into that,
Yes.
we have a lot of similarities. One, we're both Ida kids, Ida boys, born and raised. And then the other thing is we're both alumni of the years for community college.
Absolutely.
Monroe Community College. Pretty big deal, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
To be honest. So, and more importantly, and we'll talk about Ida later, but you are an announcer and radio host and just your voice. Just where did you start out knowing you would do this?
Absolutely, I did. My goal when I was a little kid was to one day take Ernie Harwell's spot.
Okay.
That didn't work out. However, I worked games with him. I was
awesome.
the PA announcer while he was doing either television or radio, and I got to introduce him. But I really got my start in Ida. I played in the Ida Little League. I was not very good, and I would sit on the bench, but I would describe the game. I would say, and there's Max Gill looking in for the side. He's got it from Tim Leonard. He rocked some pitches. And there's strike 3 on Ronnie Bash. And I would do that, and the coaches would get so upset with me that if our dugout was on the first base side, I got to play left field a little bit later because that's the farthest.
Oh yeah, of course, right.
And if we were on the third base side, I got to play my natural position, first base. But I know that Bob Thompson and Ed Wiley, who were 2 of my coaches, I know they put me in just so they didn't have
to listen to you talk anymore. Yeah. That's awesome. So you knew you wanted to do this.
Oh, absolutely.
This was
absolutely.
Now, specifically sports?
Yes.
You didn't want to do any other radio or anything like that? Or was
I always really was into sports, but my first break came at WVMO back in 1970, right after I graduated. A lot of other kids were getting jobs at McDonald's, and I got hired at a radio station, which I was pretty fortunate. But my first job was kind of a gopher job. I would drive up on a Saturday afternoon. I would drive up to Ypsilanti. I would get the first half tape of Eastern Michigan football, drive it back to Monroe, and then when the Michigan game was over, because WVMO carried the Michigan game, when that was over, they'd put the Eastern Michigan tape on. Meanwhile, I'm driving back up to Ypsilanti to get the second half. So when the second half started, they actually had the tape.
Right.
That's how I got my start. But I always knew that I wanted to be in sports. My career kind of went into the news business because in 1974, after I graduated from Western Michigan, I got hired by the Monroe News as a police reporter. And I was there for 10 years, really enjoyed it. It's really kind of funny now to see the newspaper because they don't carry police news generally. I used to write half of the second page every day.
Right.
And I'd get back from the office about 9:15 in the morning, and man, you would just write until 11:30, and it was pretty taxing, but I enjoyed it. I still write a lot. Facebook allows me to keep writing, and I every once in a while will write news releases for candidates and stuff like that. Don't think they know how to say that.
Right.
But I've been very, very fortunate. Anybody who knows me knows that I refer to myself as the luckiest man I've ever met.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was at Ida, I talked about playing Little League Baseball. I might have set a record at Ida High School. Because all 4 years that I went out for baseball, I got cut. And my senior year, there's only 16 guys that go, oh man, I got this, man.
I got a good chance.
I don't
The
care
odds are in my favor. Someone's going to get injured.
Yeah, but But Coach Pansdor came to us like after we'd been practicing for 3 weeks. He says, "Guys," he says, "got some bad news. We only got 15 jerseys." And everybody looked at me.
Bob, we got a conversation we have to have
No,
here.
he didn't have to have the conversation. I knew I was the guy that was on waivers.
3 guys later.
But it was okay. You know, I was the only Ida graduate in the Vergiels family, and now the Vergiels family is also Jobs and Connors and things like that. But I'm the only member of the Vergiels family to graduate from Ida High School without a varsity letter.
And look at you now.
The only one. The only one.
Look, if you could have a varsity jacket now, it'd be you couldn't even put everything that you've done on it.
I couldn't fit in it.
No.
I graduated at 141 pounds, and I'm not that anymore.
Oh my gosh. Well, so let's go into the announcing. So very quickly, I know there's probably even more, but the most you're known for announcing, right? So you have the Toledos, you have the Walleyes, you have the Storm, the MudHens.
Detroit Tigers, Detroit Lions, University of Michigan. I did Eastern Michigan football for a couple of years. Detroit Lions for 10. Michigan, I did basketball for 11 years, and 9 of those years were when John Beeline was a coach. And we were always one of the top teams in the Big Ten. And twice we went to the Final Four when I was the voice of Michigan basketball.
That had been awesome.
Oh, every night the arena, Chrysler Center, was just packed. It was packed. And I was there too when girls basketball really took off.
Mm-hmm.
I filled in one night for a guy, and the coach liked me so much that they fired the regular guy. He never did another game.
Sorry. Note to self: don't put Bob in if you just want him in for a game. He'll take over.
I didn't mean to.
But you have that. You have the voice. You have it. Like God just gave you. You were luckily granted with that.
Yes.
And then you also have, because it's not just a voice. You got to have the know-how, the knowledge, and probably some of your writing. You're able to be quick on the spot and with your own.
But you have to get a break. You have to get a break. I did 999 games in the minor leagues with the Toledo Storm and the Toledo MudHens and Wayne State. I shouldn't call them
Go Warriors.
Yeah, I shouldn't call them minor league, but they weren't. They're Division II.
Yes, yeah, they're not.
And they're not the Big Ten, and they're not the Mid-American Conference. I did 999 games, but it took a break getting the Detroit Tigers job. I almost didn't hear about it.
Mm-hmm.
When they opened it up in 2004, a friend of mine called me and said, "You got to check the Tigers website. The PA announcer job is on there." So I did, and luckily for me, I printed it off because the next day it was gone. It was off.
Really?
So I sent my application in. There was 140 of us who applied. And I later found out who some of the guys were, guys and women, some even 16 years ago or 18 years ago, women were applying too. A lot of these are people you've heard of, or far more famous than I would ever be. But they didn't get picked, I did. Mm-hmm. And that led to a lot of stuff. That led to the Lions, and that led to the University of Michigan, and that led to Eastern Michigan, and it just really...
Now, when it comes to like the pros,
mm-hmm.
is that like, do you have to have like a tryout to do those kind of things?
What we did is they took the 140 resumes that they had, boiled it down to 12.
Okay.
And 12 of us got interviews. 5 of us then got to audition in Comerica Park with Mr. Illich listening from his suite, which they didn't tell us about Mr. I.
No pressure at all. No pressure at all. But you didn't know either.
You figure every night you're going to have 40,000 people there.
Yep.
So you better not let the pressure get to you. Pressure's okay. I get nervous.
Mm-hmm.
I get nervous now for a different reason than I used to. I used to get nervous because I was afraid to get fired. Now I get nervous because people might remember what I have done in the past, and I don't want them to say, "Oh, that guy stayed too long at the dance." So there is a pressure. There's nerves, but like I always tell my Miss America and Miss Monroe gals, is that nerves can do 2 things. They can either make you get a hit in the bottom of the 9th and win the game, or they can make you swing at 3 bad pitches. It depends on how you let them control you or you control your nerves. And when I tell people I still get nervous, they go, "What? You've done a bazillion game." Yep. I still get nervous.
I think nerves are great. I think it defines you when you have nerves. I mean, even when I do just a funeral, right? Because you will get one shot to make this family. And honestly, but going back to this, I think it's absolutely wonderful. I've gotten you just dropping your glass. Oh my gosh, this is.
Oh, no wonder I couldn't hear.
Can we stop throwing things around and stuff? But I've had the honor of listening to many of your games, being MudHens and Storm and all that, and Walleye, and it's incredible, and it's interesting now because I graduated with Anthony Bellino, who kind of protéged under you for all those years. And it's super cool to kind of do this and then finding out this is an Ida boy. This is one of us that decided not to go into farming specifically. And
I was never outstanding in my field.
one way or another, right? Right. And Dad and I definitely don't have the green thumbs for it. So, but
you want to hear something funny about Anthony Bellino?
Yes.
He got a lot of the jobs that I had to leave for different reasons, especially when I went to Florida. But when I came back, he had kind of established himself, and now I'm filling in for him.
Yep.
I do University of Toledo basketball. In fact, I got my schedule the other day from them. I'll be doing at least 15 games to fill in for him while he's doing other stuff. And when he needed to give up the Walleye because he just had too many other things, the Walleye called me and said, "Would you be interested in coming back?" And it's really funny. When I retired in 2012, a lot of people, they signed a great big poster for me, which is very cool. I had some people come up to me after I came back and they said, "We thought you were gone." Well, sorry, didn't mean to disappoint you by coming back.
Sorry.
But every game I get to do now is really a bonus because in 2018, a lot of people don't realize I had a heart attack and I had a quadruple bypass surgery, and I didn't know if I'd ever be behind a mic again. And I'd already told the Tigers that I was leaving. Actually, the heart attack came 3 weeks after my last game, and they're for the grace of God, because I have a second heart attack in the hospital. But I'll never forget the first time I got to sit behind the microphone. It's like going some places you never thought you'd get to go again, and there I was.
Well, no, I from all of us sports kids that got to enjoy the game and have you be our background noise. Thank you. Because honestly,
I didn't tell him to say that.
Sorry, there's Peanut Gallery here.
Oh my God! I thought God was talking near a funeral home.
He might think he's God sometimes, but
actually, God is part of the adverb that describes it.
But thank you so much, Bob, for being on the show. Thank you for doing what you've done for so many years, and we hope to hear you in the stands for years to come.
And I hope to be there. When Bob Shepard was the voice of the Yankees, when he was my age, he did 24 more years of Yankee baseball. So let's see if we can.
25 more years?
That's right.
That's it. Bob, thank you so much. Thank you. And everybody, thank you for tuning into another Capal's Corners episode. This is Bob Vergiels. I am Benny Capal. Have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you.